All right, I made a masterclass on this a few weeks ago, how to do HDR photography for real estate in Luminar Neo. That was one way, but since then I have discovered a better way that is much faster. For the most part, you can basically get a photo corrected within probably about 5 to 8 minutes, including windows and the HDR merge of the photos to start. So let's get going with this. I'm going to choose this photo, this one, and this one. You can see I got 5 brackets here, but I'm just going to use 3. So this is a bit of a different process, and the reason this is better is when you add another layer to use for the windows layer, just so you get good window shots where they're not blown out. The other way I did in the other video, it was very difficult to have this second layer come in perfectly aligned, especially if you adjusted some distortion in the image, the main image. It's like it just would not align, or it's very difficult. Anyways, here's the image. Let's go ahead and hit edit. First thing I'm going to do after it comes up, is do a develop. I like to work in layers, not do everything within one layer, which you could for some things. But we're going to optics. You can see the vignetting and the curving from the wide angle lens. So let's go ahead and pull those out. That's pretty good right there. So you can see right here the number 41. I just turned this on just in case. There's our main image. Now we go here to load our window version for the window pulls. You see, I see this number right here. This is how I have mine organized. So I'm going to go back. 5 here. You can organize however you want. This is just how I have mine organized. So 177. So we gotta go find the original specific exposure of the underexposure, which will be right here. And then we open, and it puts it over here, but it doesn't actually load it. So you just click once on it. You don't see anything happening, but it does. So it brings it in, and it brings it in 50%. So you can kind of see both over. And you can see a little bit of it's wrong right here. So real easy to fix this. We go to edit. For this one, it's already got a developer on here because it's just one image, it's not merged. We go down to optics, click this on just in case. You don't have to. Put this to the same exact number, which did not work in the previous video I showed. It was kind of frustrating. That's it. It's perfectly aligned. The distortion's the same, everything. Now you can go to tools, layer properties, push this up to 100%. And if you want to see, go over here, right click on it, hide layer. See? It's not jumping even a little bit. So now we go back to layer properties, masking, down to mask actions, fill. So it puts something, we just don't see it. We want to invert it, which erases the whole thing. And now we're going to brush and paint it back. So here is your brush size, softness, and strength, whether it's just like a little bit or more. I'm just gonna do this, and we're just gonna brush in. Sometimes it takes a while. There we go. Especially when you're on an older computer like mine. I'm like on a 2015 iMac 5K. So terms of creative world, this computer is so obsolete. But when I can afford to buy a brand new $10,000 Mac, I will. So what we're doing right now is you can see we're painting in the windows. And you can see with the red, that's just the mask color. And then when I release the mouse, click, you'll see the window. And some things, like if you have a Wacom tablet, this is where this can be a little faster. See, I release, the red goes away, and there's our window. I'll even show you. Hide layer. See, there's the original layer underneath, that's this layer. Show layer, and that's our window layer. And it's pretty good right there. But now we need to go in and erase this part. We don't want that. So we go back to our layers, make sure we're selected here. Masking, brush, now we want to erase. Let's bring down our feather. Size a little bit. We'll keep our strength at 100. And if you don't know this trick, if you click, hold shift down, and click again, it will always make a straight line no matter what the angle is. It doesn't have to be vertical or horizontal, it just makes a straight line from A to B. So it makes it very quickly to do straight lines like on the edge of the picture. You don't have to draw any paths with the pen tool. Click. Right there. I'll get this in a second. Just getting the main bulk of this. Click. Click 1, click 2. Right here. Kind of jump up a little bit. Obviously, this would take some time to go in here. We're not going to do that. This is more just to show how fast you can do this in Luminar Neo with what I recently discovered, which was a big frustration in the other workflow I showed. Getting the layers lined up, it just would not do it. Click, click. There's our vertical. This is a little smaller. A little more. Actually, if you zoom in, the brush stays the same and the image gets bigger, so it's like the brush is getting smaller at the same time. So if we click, hold shift, and we're going to do a straight line. Do a little bit right there. Look, window, done. Window, done. We still have a little bit right here, so let's make this bigger. This we can't do, obviously, a shift and click. We've got to do this freehand because it's not perfectly straight. And like I said, remember, this is where a Wacom tablet pen becomes very handy to naturally draw much easier instead of trying to mouse and click each time. So I'm just gonna get rid of this. I'm not gonna worry about inside the chair. Too much work right now. I don't want to deal with that. Just want the main part of it. Now you see, this is the kind of stuff you can go in and do on your own. So, see, look, now watch. Hide layer, there's our windows. Show, hide, throw it back on. Now this is what I've figured out myself to do, this is the workflow I do with images. I do a color first, remove the color cast. I usually do 25, 50%, I don't know, in most things. I rarely go over 50 because I like to have some of the original. And over here, under saturation, I'll take these to minus 50. This is just what I've done. It seems to be pretty quick. You can get as detailed as you want in this. Now if we turn this on and off, you can see the difference there. And then if we go right here, kind of kick up, you know, the blue skies. We want more blue there, right there, because we're only adjusting the saturation in the blue to help push that up. Maybe even, I don't know if we want to do the greens in here. No, we'll leave that for a different one. So that's that part. Then I go to, we can even throw in here, landscape. Here's our foliage enhancer. Look, see, right there. 50. If you want to add a little bit of the golden hour to give that a little bit of a golden look. 5. Dehaze kind of darkens that up a little bit, maybe 15. Right there. So if we show, this is your main preview button of before and after. There's before, there's after, before, see, all right. And then one last thing I like to do is develop, you can just keep adding these as layers, and I'll show you this here in a second. Bring up the shadows, because it was kind of dark, if you think so. If not, bring the shadows up, maybe a little bit of contrast. I have a thing with even numbers. Everything's got to be even. I can't have like weird stuff. I'm weird like that. See the before, and after, just like that. I mean, pretty much we call that done. You can go in there more, but let's get on to this one. I know I forgot this one over here, but you get the idea. So this one, now we're on our main image. The first thing I want to do again is, and it kind of does matter the order stacking that we do here. So I want to remove color cast, make sure I'm on the right thing, saturation, get rid of that, a little more of that, right there. We can do before, after. Now let's get it so we can get, you know, better whites in there. All right, so that's done. Another develop. I like to start with curves. Push that up. A little bit of bringing the darks back down. A little more on the high brights. Like that. Maybe if you want to brighten up a little bit more with some shadows. 25. Maybe a little more contrast. And before and after, and done. There's your image. Less than 10 minutes. You know, obviously it took a little longer because I'm explaining, trying to show at the same time. But, and I know I forgot this window, but you get the idea that that's how fast Luminar Neo does this compared to Lightroom. We're trying to take something into Photoshop and manually do the layers, which is not a good idea, because this keeps everything original within your photo raw program like Luminar Neo, because you have all your original photos. You have it all cataloged in here. You're not doing two different things somewhere else. But right there, bring it back up, show the full before. There's our before, there's our after. So depending on your particular whatever, when it comes to whites and colors, I like to keep a little bit of the original myself. If you want to get in there and do more masking or you want some colors to come back through that might get washed out. It's up to you, but I think for the most part, nobody's going to know the difference except for you when they see, here's the original, not good, and here's the after within just a few minutes. So I forgot to show you, right here is your layers. Every time you add one of these things, and after you adjust it, you do your adjusting and you close it and you move on to something else, it puts it in here. So here's just extra stuff. It puts it on top of whatever you did previously. You cannot move these around. They are stuck in this order, which that's not a big deal, but what is a problem is, say you wanted to go back to here and adjust something, is like maybe it's too bright or something's oversaturated, whatever. What happens though, which is not a good workflow that Luminar does, is when you click on here, it turns off the above layers, and it only shows from whatever layer you're working on. If you have 20 layers in here, from that one down, and mutes the other ones, which is not really good, because as you're adjusting this, you're not seeing the full blending effect of what's above, and then you have to kind of go, okay, now I gotta go back to the top, turn it on, nope, now I gotta go back to here, adjust it. So that's not a good workflow at all. It's a horrible workflow. But for the speed and what Luminar Neo has within it, some AI stuff, all this stuff right here, there's some other things they need to release more professional individual control over some things, but you can't complain about the speed of this. Like I was saying, some of the AI features, this all comes in here. Generative erase, swap, expand. It's okay, you know, this isn't the best on some of these things. Here's your HDR merge. You can even drop an image to upscale in here. You know, an image has got to be good to begin with. It can't be really, really bad and expect you're going to get like perfect out of it. But you know, these are good, but there's probably obviously better that are more specific design, where you're going to pay $200 just for an upscaler. Focus stacking, this, I've done a video on this. Is where you take different focal points of the same image and you blend those together. So it's kind of good for products and things like that. Look at that video. But let's go to export, disk, and let's see. Just put it. We'll just put it right here. Here's our settings. This is like the full res original. Always keep it at JPEG. You can push the resolution up, really doesn't matter. And quality. Save. Okay. All right. Here's our image. I'll press the space bar to do a quick preview. That's it. Done. Just like that. So depending on your personal preference as far as how bright and white you want stuff to be everywhere, that's a whole other process. You can watch the other video where I go into more detail on how to do, or if like you just want to add some brightness in certain areas, how to do deeper level and masking, and on the tools. But that's it. I was done within just a few minutes. That's probably like 6-8 minutes we did that. That's all.